Alright, gang, here's another installment. I noticed here through working that this area is a little similar, and so when you run into that issue when you're readjusting values and you see something looking similar, go back to your still life. Just look at your still life, and then ask yourself what's what. And so, what's lighter rather. I'm noticing just through my still life right now is that the sidewalk is a bit lighter, and so what that's telling me is the range of is that this needs to be lighter. The range of it is too dark. So I'll use my chamois to lighten that up a bit. Alright, and so it's still darker than this, but now it's lighter than this. And so I've kind of started to create a new, another midtone, or another depth layer of value. Alright, now what that does too is sort of allows me to bring this forward just by darkening it slightly. Okay. Now, once you get to this level, where you're starting to get things to work a bit more spatially, things are starting to pop out. The drawing is sort of, in some ways, informing you where to go next. You can start incorporating darker parts, and that's where you go in and you look at your still life and you ask yourself which are the darkest areas in the drawing. And the only way to do it is to really squint your eyes. So I'm noticing that there are some really dark areas here, which makes sense because my light's coming in like this, and this is furthest away from it. So the Conti will get way darker than when you push hard, than the charcoal will, and you can see what that does. And I want to lift up just a little bit in here, just to give a little bit of sort of air, and let that kind of go back before it curves back around here. Alright, so another area that's dark, is really dark, is in here, and I need to sort of draw that area out. I haven't drawn it yet. So in order to do that, you got to go back to your reference and use your fine charcoal. And so you can begin to put in that lace work. Little circles around here, and then it goes kind of like this. Not to mention, this area gets way more specific, and I can really start to think much more about those edges. So now, instead of working something so big, and I wanted to show you this too, I felt like this needed to come forward just a little bit, so I'll just give it some air. And then what I can do is reinforce that edge if I need to, but I actually like it. So I'm going to leave that. But what I can do now is use my Conti to start filling in, start really letting the table kind of come forward at this point. into it. I'm standing up while I'm drawing too because it really does help me see the whole thing. Um, Getting too close doesn't always allow you to see the drawing, um, to deal with this whole shape or whole area of a drawing. Sometimes when you sit, you get too focused on a small area, but there's always two sides to something. Well, at least two sides. In this case, I'm trying to get this to sit and this to come forward, and I'm doing it through shape. And value. This is a good example of a soft transition versus more harder transitions. And so what it's doing is it's trying to bring this forward and give this a reflection. And I think it's starting to work.